Hey there, scary people, and welcome back to the One Scary Woman YouTube channel. So it is time for one of our 3 scariest things about video. So in keeping with what we're going to be talking about these next couple weeks, this is the 3 scariest things about collaboration. So film is a really collaborative medium. So there's other different creative pursuits. If you're a creative person, but you like to just have total control, do it exactly your way, not have to deal with other people. There are other creative mediums where you would probably be better off expressing yourself, because when it comes to film, you actually have to cooperate with a whole lot of people and rely on other people to get that good finished product. So it's not just you. So at the bare minimum, say if you're a writer, director, even actor, so say if you produce, write, direct, even star in your own film, chances are there's going to be other actors as well. Chances are, you're probably going to need some other technical person. You're going to need someone to be working the camera, a cinematographer, a sound person, an editor, unless you're an editor as well. So no matter how many roles you can take on yourself with film, unless it's like maybe a very short film that you can manage to do totally on your own, chances are you're going to need to be collaborating with someone. And for some writers, you might be considering collaborating with someone even before you get to the filming stage. You might be collaborating on a script. So we definitely have to talk about the scariest things about collaboration and what to think about so that you can move past those things and keep going with your film production. Now, number 1 scariest thing about collaboration. So this is something that I hear all the time. So, some of you who know me, you know that I also teach at 2 universities. So I hear this even from my college students whenever they have to do writing projects together. There's always a fear about, well, what if I wind up doing all the work? So what if you're the one who's really pulling your weight and really pushing things through and everyone else is just lackluster? And this might feel especially true if you're going to be funding your film yourself. Say you're actually paying these people and they just show up and kind of phone it in, and you're really doing everything. You feel like you have to run yourself ragged and really do everything. So that's a common fear for sure when it comes to collaboration. If you are a script writer considering a collaboration on actually writing a script, that can be a common fear. Are you going to wind up writing this whole script and then they're just going to stick their name on it? So that can be really, really frustrating. Now, all I can say about safeguarding against this, and it goes back to our previous videos as well, the importance of having to set expectations at the outset and make it clear. So especially when you go to do your first film, you might feel like, I just want to get this done. You might be desperate for whatever help you can get. But it's still really important to sit down with those people, get to know them before you officially bring them into the project, and really make it clear, like, hey, this is what I expect, going forward. So if it's your baby, of course, you might be the one steering the ship, but make it clear the kind of help and kind of attitude you're actually expecting going into this project so that it doesn't feel like you are the one carrying all the weight of the world on your shoulders, that instead, hopefully, you can get people who will respect your vision and really help you carry that weight and help you get this done. All right, number 2 scariest thing about collaboration, and this is the opposite end of the spectrum. So opposite of I'm going to wind up doing everything myself is the feeling of, well, what if other people just go ahead and hijack this project? And particularly if this project is important to you, that is something to consider. So you don't want to get started. You have a particular vision for this. You're the one who's really driving it. Maybe you're even the one who's funding it. But these other big personalities come in and then essentially take over. And then they say, what about this? What about this? They start to change things. They start to do things differently. So I wound up in a situation a couple years ago, actually on the script that I'm planning to film this year, where I was considering working with someone, and then after just a very few meetings, it became very clear that this would be a situation where I would just be getting bulldozed on a regular basis. Because they came in, oh, of course, I love it, all that stuff. But then very quickly it was, well, I want to do this, and I want my name on that, and I'm going to change this, and I want this, and I want this. And it very quickly became clear that this wasn't someone who was going to respect my vision so much as they were just going to keep making changes and keep putting themselves into different aspects of this project, and it wasn't going to be a good fit. So again, with this, I can't stress enough just the importance of getting familiar with these people before you work with them. And even if it's a friend that you've had for a very long time, really sitting and talking about, what an undertaking it is to do a film that this can wind up in some cases being years of your life, depending on exactly how much you're going to put into this, how complicated the project is. Being very clear and also really asserting your authority. So for sure, there can be scary things about having to assert your authority. In a future video, I'll talk a bit about what can be scary about taking on that leadership role and really having to be a leader. But it is very, very necessary. And believe me, you have it in you. If you are here and you've made it this far and you have a passion to do this film, you definitely have it in you also to step up, be a leader, and set your boundaries about this is your vision for what you're doing, and this is what you expect people to stick to. And if they're not going to, then unfortunately, they don't really have a place on your team. All right, so number 3, scariest thing about collaboration. This is another very, very common one. It is the fear of actually ruining that relationship of whoever you're going to be collaborating with. So this might be particularly true or particularly coming into play if you're in a situation where you plan on doing this film or that screenplay with a friend or friends. Of course, if you're hiring professionals and you're hiring people that you don't really have a personal relationship with, it's a different situation because then it's very professional and the lines are not blurred. But say if you are planning on working with friends, of course, there might be some degree of fear. Hey, what happens if we actually ruin this relationship by working together? If we get into this project and then we have, conflicting views on where it should go, or there's some dispute down the line, or again, somebody gets jealous over money or recognition or whatever the case may be. Letting your friends see you when you have to be in a leadership role and be in charge. They might not be used to that side of you. They might find it off-putting and then not feel about you, the same way. So again, these are common fears. It's not that they're baseless, but everything just comes back to that communication ahead of time. So what are you doing? Clearly expressing your passion about it, clearly expressing those expectations about it, and maybe even having a discussion like, hey, we're friends, we have a great friendship. Let's actually talk about, what it's going to be like to do this, and talk about, what are the concerns about how this could affect a friendship down the line. And really down the line, if you and your friend are people who are in sync, who both have a shared passion, who can support each other. So in this case, if they're supporting your vision, hopefully that support will carry you through and that strong friendship will carry you through and you'll come out with a great product. So yes, I have seen collaborations that have gone south. Usually it always has to do with poor communication at the beginning. I've also seen collaborations that have gone amazingly well. So there's 2 people in particular I know working in LA. The films that they put together, they have A-list talent. They, are well known, they're paid exceedingly well, and they just have a beautiful collaboration that on every film, they have a real natural give and take, who's doing what, and they do a fantastic job. So collaborations can certainly work really, really well. It comes down to that communication ahead of time so that you can really understand what to expect from each other, who you're getting, and put together your best team possible. All right, if you have any questions about the collaboration process or any stories you want to share about collaborations you've had, either good or bad, feel free to put those down in the chat. And good luck as you are now moving into this stage of your production. Next, we're going to talk about how to assemble your team.